What's up, guys? It's MENES back again with the Azura Media Club, home of the Bad Girl Coven. Stick around, subscribe to join the Bad Girl Coven, and here we are today. We're talking about Princess Peach Showtime. Now, I didn't really know what to expect from this game going in, because I want to put this out there. The trailer gives a very bad impression of this game. From the trailer, what I gathered from whatever trailer I saw originally, uh, it felt like this game was going to be like taking place on a stage, like one stage, and you would just like the stage would like change or something, like like you would do in like a play. Like that's the impression I got of what this was going to be, and I'm like, well, that's really limited. Why not just give Peach her own like side-scrolling or 3D sort of action game, And thankfully, that's what this actually fucking is. And it's not that original thing that I thought it was going to be. But it's all in the aesthetic of a stage play. That's the kind of the gimmick of where they're at. They're at this theater and there's like a bunch of these different plays playing out. But don't let that like think limited. Like it's not. I mean, it's kind of side scrolling, but it's also kind of you can move around within that like side scrolling area. You never really have like full 3D control outside of when you're in the theater area there choosing levels and whatnot. And the other thing I heard was that there wasn't a whole ton of content, and I thoroughly kind of disagree with that because there's like a lot of levels in this game. Maybe not as many as like a typical Mario adventure or something, but I feel like it. There's like 5 floors. There's like 4 levels per floor, and then there's a challenge in each one, and then in the basement there's like another like 10 or 15 levels down there that are like kind of the end game levels, and then there's boss levels in like once you've finished on each floor, so that's another level. So there's like at least 30 to 40 sort of levels, and then there's extra content once you finish the game. And if you get all the gems or whatever, spoilers for Princess Peach Showtime, then when you're back in the theater after the final boss is defeated there, you can make some aesthetic changes to the theater, and that's kind of what you get with your last like 120 gems there. And then I was missing like 16 of these like sparkle gems to finish off like whatever the last 2 things of aesthetics were. So I'm assuming there's like 16 more gems you can get after the fact for doing like the boss challenge run and like all the stuff that they mention after post credits or whatever. So there's even more replayability afterwards. But the main kind of thing about the game is that you're Princess Peach, and I'm a huge fan of Princess Peach. That's kind of where I wanted to start because ever since I played Super Mario Bros. 2, or I watched my cousin even play Super Mario Bros. 2 before I even played it, and then when I did play Super Mario Bros. 2, I play as Peach in this game as much as possible because she's awesome. She has that floaty ability. She doesn't really have that in this game, but it's she's great in this game. I've kind of ebbed and flowed with Princess Peach here, but as of recently, I'm back on the Princess Peach train, and she's definitely my favorite Mario character, for sure. When we went to Universal there in California, I got this. This is the only like Peach themed thing. They had like backpacks and like a hat and stuff, but like every other character, even fucking stupid minor characters, had plushies. And there was no Peach plushie, and I was super disappointed by that. I got a Luna Lovegood plushie, which is awesome, and I couldn't get a fucking Peach plushie, which I wanted so bad. We looked everywhere, and they didn't have it. I wonder if the other Universal would have it, or whatever, but, even in Nintendo Land there, Super Nintendo Land, Super Nintendo World there, you felt the presence of Peach. And, it's like, her castle is like an iconic location. I loved her in the movie, too. I know I've talked about that on this channel. It was the first movie review I did on the channel, I'm pretty sure. So, That's awesome. I got this at work. This little Christmas ornament Peach here. A friend sent me this. It's the amiibo, the Odyssey amiibo, which I still need to play. And then I have these two Peach themed controllers. I've got this one, which is like Mario Kart Peach themed, which I use a lot. It's got little buttons on the back, so that's kind of nice. That was really helpful with Zelda Echoes of Wisdom there, because one of the buttons was actually the menu where you could bring up your echoes or whatever. And then I've got this Peach controller, which is also really cool. I love it. So yeah, I'm a big fan. I got this shirt. I got other shirts. I got other Peach stuff. It's great. She's great. I love Princess Peach. So the fact that like she only ever had like that one fucking game on the DS, which like everyone was super critical of because it was like this, like she's emotional or whatever, and that was her whole thing, because women are emotional, right? That's the defining characteristic. That's, it was problematic, to say the least. But then, now, and then they announced this game, Princess Peach Showtime, and it's like, oh man, Peach is getting her own game again? Like, fuck yes, I want to play this. So, on concept alone, I was in. You give Princess Peach her own Switch game. It's like a side-scrolling sort of I don't want to say platformer game, but it kind of has elements of that. You do platform, but also, like, there's a lot of variety in the gameplay, There's all these different forms of Peach. You've got, like, the Sword Fighter Peach. You've got, like, the Ninja Peach. You've got the Mighty Peach, which was at one point my favorite, and I don't know if it still is, because of that last level of that. It really pissed me off with the asteroid part. I had to redo that a bunch of times. Whatever the, like, Thief Peach was, that one where you have to do, like, the hang glider extra stage, that was, like, a nightmare to get through as well. All of those extra stages are, like, pretty hard. I mean, not all of them, but, like, a lot of them are. Like, the one where you have to take down, like, all of them as Kung Fu Peach or whatever, that was pretty hard. You gotta take down, like, 100 guys or whatever. But, like, so those ones are pretty good. And then you've got, like, Ice Skater Peach and, like, the Cooking Peach, like, they're not horrible, but, like, they're not as good as the other ones, or like, Detective Peach. Like, I like Detective Peach because it's a nice change in variety of the gameplay. It's more of a puzzly sort of element to take you away from the more action focused elements of the game, which is nice. Okay, so here's some spoilers, right? Because I said that earlier. I said spoilers, sorry. God damn it, I'm bringing that. There's also Cowgirl Peach, which is awesome. I like that one a lot. And Mermaid Peach, which is, like, lesser good. Probably because of the singing parts, where it's kind of like Guitar Hero, except you, like, have to, like, turn different directions to get these fish, and, like, you gotta be pinpoint accurate. And those are always the ones that kind of piss me off, is when you have to do that stuff. And then the main problem with the game, here it is. Here's the main problem with the game, alright? You can't just exit out of a level. Let's say you miss, like, one sparkle gem out of, like, 10 or 7 or whatever the fuck, You go back through the level, you get it. Let's say it's at the beginning of the level, right? Okay, I'll just exit out, right? No, you have to finish the level again, which just wastes a lot of time. And, I mean, constantly what I found is that I would have to go through a level, and then immediately after, I would go through the level again just to get the one that I missed, and I'd probably have to make multiple runs on it, because if you miss the sparkle gem in that one section, you have to restart the level, because you can't just die most of the time. Sometimes you can, and those are when you're lucky and you can just start over and try from that section. But, like, the thing they needed to have would be something like that, where they give you an out to where you can retry a section a bunch of times, so you don't have to redo an entire level again just to get back to that one point, because you failed on that one point, and you keep failing on that one point, and you can't practice on that one point. This is some NES level bullshit from, like, back in the fucking day. Like, even Mario 2 a lot of times wasn't that bad. because you could like stack up lives and shit, and there were tactics around this, you know. You can't really do any of that shit in Princess Peach, and the levels aren't like incredibly long, but they're long enough to make it kind of a problem. And I don't want to say it's like a huge problem, but it is the most significant problem with the game for me. Other problem that I have was at the very end, like I said, spoilers, when you fight the final boss, it's a really disappointing final boss. It's cool, but it just turns into a shooter section. All I'm doing is mashing B, because you do that a lot whenever you're fighting like a boss or whatever. Not all of them, but some of them are very like button mash heavy. And this boss, all you're doing is tapping, and like, it turned into a fucking shooter. It's a shooter, you know, and it has nothing to do with anything. What the thing should have been at the end, and I think even would have been nice for like post-game. I understand if you don't want to do it as you're going along, but I feel like this game would have been really interesting if they had some kind of system where you can turn into any of the Princess Peaches. And I understand that they're trying to theme levels around certain Princess Peaches, and I like that, but when you have a final boss, you don't just default to, oh, she shoots now, you know? She shoots now, you know? You don't default to that. You don't default to her being in a shooter game now, creating a new Peach. You give us all of the powers to play with, because all of the characters that are the master of those powers are there, and they all give you their power, so why the fuck can I not use, like, Sword Fighter Peach, and, like, all the other Peaches, or like, Mighty Peach or something? I don't fucking know. Like, and you know, not have the same final boss. Reflect your final boss around the fact that, like, there's certain Peaches you want to be reflected in that final boss. And I understand the concept is, like, that you fought a final boss for each of the different Peaches, like, variety of Peaches, Peach outfits, or whatever you want to call them, Peach forms. Peaches, you know, I get that, but, like, if your final boss needs to be reflective of the entire game as a whole, and the entire game is these forms of Peach, and then you just add a new one at the end that's just kind of lackluster, you know? It's kind of not exactly as interesting as all the other ones, and not that they were all great. Like I said, there's the Mermaid Peach and the it's like the same song. Okay. The Mermaid Peach and, like, the other Peaches, you know, there's like 3 or 4 that aren't, like, the best ones, but they're fine. But, you know, you want your final boss to be reflective of the game that you've played, you know, to really wrap up the journey. And then it's just probably one of the weakest bosses there was. It looked cool. It was aesthetically pretty cool. It was kind of annoying to, like, dodge stuff and, like, the big fire flame walls or whatever, and the presents she threw down on you and shit. But it's like, at the end of the day, was it like an epic final boss? Like, no, it was just alright, you know? And it was probably one of the more disappointing aspects of the game. And it's not a huge strike against the game. I loved the game. I thought this was a great game, especially because I didn't have high hopes going in. And I really hope Nintendo makes more of these, because I don't know how this game did, but I got this feeling like the reception of the game wasn't, like, super well received. Like, people liked it, but they weren't, like, a buzz about it, you know, like friggin' Odyssey or, like, Breath of the Wild or something. And I know they don't have to be on that level of hype, but it's just like, I didn't hear a whole lot about it when it came out, so I just fear that maybe, I don't know how it was received, you know? And I'm going to look into some of that afterwards. I know I have one Arlo review on my backlog of videos there that says, I'm extremely torn about Princess Peach Showtime. And I can understand that. I can understand that as a perspective. But I personally really enjoyed the game. I thought the aesthetic was good. I thought there was a lot of really challenging elements to the game. It's not exactly an easy game. And I even took the heart gem or whatever, which people are like, oh, you scrub, you fucking 3 extra hearts or 4 extra hearts or whatever. Fuck you, you know, you're not good. And it's like, fuck you, dude. I've only got so much time. The game's hard enough as it is. Like, just, you know, make it easier by any means. Oh, Super Mario RPG, that's another great game where you can play as Princess Peach. Um, I don't know, for some reason the music made me think of that. The music's actually really good too, and like I said, the theming of the levels is very on point for wherever you are, and that can either be a good thing or a really bad thing sometimes. Like the underwater levels, like I said, can get frustrating sometimes. Really, because like Mermaid Peach doesn't have any abilities other than like directing fish at like enemies and puzzles, and they can go through like little grates and stuff. Like that's kind of the gameplay there, and it's interesting, but it's not the best. And the baking one is annoying because like you have to be. It's another one of those where you have to be really precise and you have to be on your game at all times. The figure skating one's not so bad, but there were like some challenges where it's just like, you know, replaying through the level was the detriment to all of that. If I could just redo those parts, it wouldn't even be that big of a deal. But they chose to make me have to go back to the beginning of the level and then redo the whole thing in order to be like able to do that one specific part again, Sometimes they give you the mercy of, okay, you failed this part. But usually if you're doing almost well enough to have passed, you'll just miss the star and you'll move on. And then it's like, fuck. And then you have to start all the way over again from the beginning of the level. It just gets tedious to go through all that again and again and again. And I know I'm bringing that up a lot, but that's the biggest criticism of the game. Everything else in the game is like, other than some of the forums, like I said, they're kind of mediocre. But mostly due to that, though. It's the problem that ties all the more minor problems together, Everything else, though, is great. And you get coins throughout the levels. And, I always had way too many. And there's a ribbon guy in each stage. To if you find him, you get a new outfit on each stage. And then after you beat every boss, there's a new outfit. And there's just like a certain amount of new outfits in the shop there at the beginning anyway. And that's kind of what your collectibles, like your coins and stuff, goes towards. And then I guess the sparkle gems would, the extra sparkle gems are going to go towards the aesthetic stuff post-game. But about half of your sparkle gems go to, once you've finished a floor, you have to give your whatever it is, the sparkle thing that follows you around, little scarf guy with the, star head or whatever. You have to give them the sparkle gems, a certain amount of them, kind of like in Spyro, you have to give the guy like a certain amount of whatever, like dragons or like gems or something to move on to the next world, that kind of thing, to open the boss level. And then you go in there and then you fight the boss level, and then once you've done that, you can move on to the next floor. And like I said, there's like 5 floors in the basement floor, so that's like 6 floors. But so that's what you use those for, which, like, it's fine. I mean, that's how it works. It's collectibles. It's like, it's like stars in Mario or something. I guess one other minor complaint is there's not really a great way to go in and look at what levels you've completed and how many, like, gems you've gotten in that level. Like, the only way to do that is, like, to go to that level and stand in front of the door, and then it'll tell you. Maybe I'm missing that. I know if you've completed everything, you get this little, like, postcard album thing that you can, like, you put one of the pictures in there. You get it from, like, this camera guy or whatever. So, like, that's how I kept track of it. But, like, come on, like, you can't just have like in Spyro, you can't just have a menu where we can scroll through each floor just to see, like, oh, okay, I've done this one and this one and this one, just easily to kind of see that. I don't know. Maybe there's something like that in the game and I just missed it, but yeah. There's a lot of good elements of, like, exploration in the game. If you don't, like, really look around and, like, kind of go over every detail, there's these spots where you can stand and you do a pose with, like, L or R or whatever, and then you, like, can go into, like, a little mini section to do, like, some kind of thing to get, like, a star gem sometimes, or sparkle gem sometimes, or whatever. So, like, there's those. So those are like, generally kind of just, hidden, and especially when you're trying to go and you're trying to get around these enemies and you're trying to like go fast, like it can become like very missable very easy. So it almost encourages you to go back and replay the levels again and again, because if you don't find the stuff the first time, but also, like I said, that gets kind of annoying. I don't mind. I mean, the levels are generally pretty good. It's just those ones that I like less that I just don't really want to go back and play a bunch of times, but I do anyway. Every time after I got through the level, I'm just like, okay, I missed that one. I'll go back and play it again. No big deal. You know, I won't lie, there were some very frustrating moments in the game just because of like how hard some of the things were to get, or how like bullshit they were, because I'd have to like start the level over. But like overall, the action is good, and like the exploration elements are good, and there's even like good puzzle elements within each ability, and I think that's nice. They definitely design most of the abilities to be really good, and they design their levels and their aesthetics of the levels, and like the kind of gameplay of the levels around that, you know, with like the ninja, you're like being stealthy and you have to like kind of sneak around and like take guys out and stuff. That's cool. You know, with like the sword fighter, you're basically going kind of head on. You know, with the cowgirl, she's got like the lasso, so you do a lot of stuff with that. Like you can pick up barrels and throw them at your enemies with the lasso, or you like you're on horseback and you lasso a guy from over there, you know, or whatever. It's good. I mean, stuff like that, that kind of gameplay is good. Really, all the game needed is this. There's two things the game needed. Start from the last checkpoint. Okay, great. And then when you exit a level, you get to keep all the sparkle gems that you got, you know. As how about this? As long as you've beaten the level, when you go back to replay the level, you can exit with any sparkle gems that you missed previously, or anything you've gained, like the ribbon or whatever. You can exit with that, and you'll be fine. And then that way you save yourself a lot of time running through levels and getting frustrated and whatever. Those two little changes, that's all you got to do to fix it. And you know, I said the same shit about like Echoes of Wisdom. You know, like the little scrolling menu thing. There's easy ways to fix that too. Apparently that was intentional, by the way. I heard this in an Arlo video, that was intentional, because Nintendo wanted you to like look at each Echo and be like, oh, it would be interesting, maybe I should try this one. But it's like, great, yeah, okay, cool, you can do that, but you can still do the slider system like I mentioned, like where you have like certain kinds, like Moblin, up and down. Okay, this is the Moblin level I want, you know, like come on, it's not that hard. Just make it a little easier on us, Nintendo, you know, like. And I know I've been complaining, but it's like, I really enjoy this game, and it's really good, and aside from those minor flaws, it was a great game, and I had a lot of fun playing it, and it's one of those games I wanted to just keep playing every time, and I'd stay up late playing it, you know. I had to go to bed, so I had to, like, turn it off, that kind of thing. But, yeah, I really loved it. I loved completing it. I mean, I didn't complete all the post-game stuff, but, you know, I can go back to that, which I won't. But, you know, I did get all the sparkle gems from all the levels and all the ribbons, and I bought every item I could previous to the final boss, you know. So, to me, I completed the game, and I felt like... I don't know if that was necessarily worth it, but I enjoyed doing it. Sometimes I was frustrated, but I overall enjoyed doing it. And I overall enjoyed the game because I really liked it. Good music, good aesthetic. It's got a fucking... my favorite character, Princess Peach, you know. I'm a big fan. Love her. Hope she gets more games because I just... you know, I had a really good time with this one, and I really love Princess Peach, so... the aesthetic of the outfits was cool. It was nice to, like, have a variety where you could switch between, like, a lot of different outfits. Like, that's nice. I don't know if everyone would find that cool, but I certainly liked it. So that was cool. The levels were well built and had good secrets and, like, mysteries around them and stuff. You know, it's like figuring out how to get all the star gems or whatever. Sometimes, it's, like I said, it was a pain, but... a lot of times it's like, oh, okay, I didn't really It's like, oh, there it is, you know, like, kind of thing. It wasn't like, oh, fuck, there it is. It's like, oh, hey, there it is, you know. So that was nice. And yeah, so overall, I mean, with some minor adjustments, I feel like this could have been like a 10 out of 10 game, you know, but as it is, I'm gonna give it like a 9.3 out of 10. Like I fucking really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting it to be like this hella good, but it was. And I was overly satisfied with my non-purchase. I didn't actually buy the game. My friend Jameson actually bought it for me for my birthday like half a year ago, you know, in July or whatever, so so yeah, but it was good. I'm glad I finally fucking got to it, because I've been like meaning to get to this one for a while. You know, of course, like Echoes of Wisdom came out, and then like Life is Strange came out, and it's like, and then this was just kind of sitting in my pile for a bit, and now I want to get to another game that I've been waiting to play, and I was supposed to play it at Halloween, but I was just busy, and you know, I didn't feel like it, or I didn't feel like necessarily playing video. I think I was playing Zelda then, or Life is Strange. Was I playing Life is Strange then? I don't know. Something like that, or I was watching movies or whatever, but this is coming up. Last of Us Part 2. We'll see if it's any good. Maybe, like, you know, it'll actually be really fucking good, and people are just complaining because, like, I don't know, trans character or something, you know, like, because that's a thing, and then I know, like, I know some things, and I'm not going to really talk about it right now, but I do want to play it because, I don't know, I got to judge for myself, you know, kind of thing. So that's going to be another good one to get off the backlog, and then I don't know where we're going from there. We'll just fucking, I don't know. I had like an urge earlier to play like Resident Evil, so maybe we'll do that, like the old school Resident Evils, like Resident Evil 2 and 3 and stuff. Like, I'd really like to review those and play those, and especially before I like review and play the remakes, like, because I don't want to do that without having talked about the originals, you know, which are classic games to me. I mean, I think 2, much like Silent Hill 2, is a little bit overrated, but I do think that it's a good game. I just find 3 to be the better game, and I like 1 better, much like with Silent Hill. I like 1 better, and 3 better. It's exactly like Silent Hill. The pattern works out the same, but 2 is a really great Resident Evil game. I just don't love all the fucking hype it gets all the time, because it's not as good as the other 2 games. You know, it's like Resident Evil 4. I feel like people really love Resident Evil, 4 and 2. But they forget about all the ones that are around it, 1, 3, and 5, you know, like, yeah, I said it. I'll stand up for 5. I like it. It's a good co-op game to play with your friends, and it was fun, and when I was, 17 or whatever, it was the greatest thing ever, okay? Fuck you. Resident Evil 5's really good. Anyway, that's nothing new. Princess Peach. Princess Peach Showtime! 9.3 out of 10. This is an awesome game. Fucking go play it. Buy it directly from Nintendo. I don't care how much it is. You gotta show Nintendo that you're supporting them. I was thinking about that. I was hearing about the Switch 2 earlier. It's like, goddamn, I might buy a Switch 2 or whatever. It's gonna be backwards compatible, so that's nice. So I might just to support Nintendo, because, you know, the Switch, I don't know where this came from, but apparently people don't like the Switch. Like I see these videos, and they're like, worst Nintendo console of all time. Of course, they've mentioned the Virtual Boy like 700 times, which is stupid, because it's an awesome console. And then everyone's like, Nintendo Switch is the worst one. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Nintendo Switch is awesome. Have you not played the Zelda games? Have you not played, Princess Peach Showtime? Have you not played fucking, all these other games that I've reviewed? You know, like A Hat in Time? I don't know. All these fucking games, you know? Like, I've talked about so many Switch games that I've really enjoyed. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm, kind of out of it right now because I'm fucking sick or whatever. Or I was sick. I feel alright right now. I'm glad I was fucking able to do this video, because I was, worried about it. I didn't want to lose all of my thoughts about the game, you know, I don't know. There's a lot of great Switch games. I can't really think of them all right now, but there's a lot of good ones that I really enjoy. And it's portable, you know, which is great. It's not exactly the best Nintendo system ever, but I mean, it's pretty fucking close. I mean, I know the N64 is really great. That's another one that everyone's like, oh, this is 4 sucks. It's like, no, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I really like a lot of the games out there, though. I mean, that's what I grew up with, though, so. You know, Super Nintendo and NES and shit. Like, I don't know. Nintendo has generally mostly good systems. Outside of, like, I don't know. Like, even the GameCube had some. That's probably, like, my least favorite. Or the Wii U. It's either the GameCube or the Wii U. I think it's probably the Wii U. But there were great games on there. The only problem with the Wii U is that you transferred all the games to Switch, you know? So, Mario Kart 8, that's a really popular Switch game, you know? Mario Party, I guess. That's more of a 64 game, you know? There's some good ones on the Switch, you know? There's some good ones. So, I'm gonna stop rambling, because, I had their shit to do, so... Princess Peach Showtime, really good, 9.3 out of 10, go play it. This Emily, NES, friggin' Azura Media Club, I'm your coven leader, Emily. Subscribe, stick around, to join the Bad Girl Coven, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Never forget Magic comes from the heart. Did I say Azura Media Club? I mean, sorry, Azura Game Club. See how out of it I am? Fucking, go play Princess Peach Showtime, she's amazing. Alright, goodbye.